Welcome to the Deucecast Extra. We are here live on a Tuesday to talk about some Loki. The season finale obviously occurred this past week, so we're going to be talking about that. And then a little movie called The Marvels came out, so we will be talking about that a little bit later as well. First, we'll just go around. Garrison, how's it going, buddy?
It's going fantastic. My life is great. I got to sit down and watch a brilliant end to my favorite Marvel Studios show, which felt like kind of in a sense, kind of everything came around. The entire show kind of culminated in that finale. And I actually, look, we talked so much about the show, and we're going to talk more tonight, and I'm not going to get too much into it right now, but I didn't think they'd go that far with it, and I'm really glad they did. I really loved the kind of finality of everything in that finale.
Yeah, definitely. Roth from Wyoming, how's it going, buddy?
Good. How are you guys? Loki was very good. I just can't wait to talk about the Marvels.
Fair. I understand. Rhett, how's it go? You're back to the sunglasses. This is interesting. It's been a minute.
Yeah, and I'm going to need plausible deniability for some of the things I'm going to say tonight.
Oh, God. All right.
I don't like Shades Red.
Yeah, I don't like Shades Red either.
I feel
Andrew,
like
welcome back.
Either way, he's either praising Loki too much.
Yeah.
Or he's
exactly.
Things with Marvel.
He just want to be known for that.
Andrew, we had you at the beginning of the season, and you're going to bookend it with us for the end of the season. How's it been going, man? You've been on several other shows. I feel cheated on. You've been on a lot of other shows since then. Some other comic book-esque shows. Didn't you just talk about the Marvels or Loki or something yesterday?
Yeah, Loki last night.
Loki last night.
Yeah.
Man, I feel like a woman scorned. All right. I'll allow it, I suppose.
Clearly,
I don't let these other guys go on other shows.
Clearly, Mikey pays attention to everything Andrew says, and that's why he thought the talk was about the Marvels when Andrew said he never saw the Marvels.
That's true. Yeah, when he said that off air, how am I supposed?
I really
that was like 5 minutes ago.
Is it because he's younger than me that he didn't have to sign a non-compete like I did?
I know. Everybody else had to sign non-compete.
Oops.
No, we just haven't gotten there yet. We'll get there. Uncle Brian, back for the finale. How's it going, buddy?
I'm doing great, and I am marvelous.
Oh, no. Oh, yeah, that's because you didn't see it. So we've got two.
Marvel-less.
So two of the 6 who haven't seen it. I see what you did there. That's fair. That's fair. Dr. Earl is supposed to be on tonight also, but he's not here. So who knows?
Why not?
Who knows what's going on with Dr. Earl? He is an enigma.
He's on a branch timeline.
He's probably been trapped by some good Samaritan law, and he's trying to save a life on the side of the street. And something will go wrong, and he'll be sued.
Exactly, as happens. Well, I don't even really know where to start. I mean, we can talk about what led up to this episode. I mean, we can just dive into the whole season a little bit, of course, focusing on the finale. But I mean, I'll start back with Garrison.
I was gonna say, I think there's enough to talk about in the finale.
Oh yeah, no, I think there is too.
That of course calls back to other things, but
yeah.
I mean, I loved finally getting to the point of realizing that the multiverse is infinite. Because as I'm watching this season, that started to bug me a little bit. This whole Loom thing, like, oh, they're just gonna expand it to fit in the branches, and that was something that kind of was in the back of my head. I was like, okay, but they're infinite branches. Like, well, we're gonna get to a point where, can you really keep expanding this thing? Mm-hmm. And the show finally is like, oh yeah, that was a failsafe because this thing is always built to explode if He Who Remains doesn't get his way. I loved that setup that clearly had been set up at least from the beginning of this season. I thought it was brilliantly done.
I very much agree. I mean, I watched this episode 3 times. Yep. That still might not mean I remember anything from it because I've got old man brain, but I did watch it 3 times. It was really the most cinematic thing I think that Disney Plus has done for a Marvel show, at least.
Oh yeah,
I don't
visually.
Yeah,
visually it was I would say visually, it's not just the best of the Marvel TV shows, but I think visually it probably eclipsed anything I'd seen on screen. I mean, just to give away a little bit here, that shot of Yggdrasil near the end is a glorious frame of film. Okay, and it's beautiful, and all the run up to that, everything from when Loki stepped out onto the gangway, it was cinematic and moving and emotional, right? In an end game kind of feel. But I think, but as far as composition and color palette and everything else, it exceeds end game. I mean, I really think so. I mean, I really think that was the best visual presentation that we've gotten out of the MCU. I mean, that, if I went back and watched everything, maybe I'd find something that that would prove me wrong. But I was more moved by that than anything else I have seen so far.
I think for me, giant Peter Dinklage was probably the high point for the MCU.
Yeah, that was it.
I did like that a lot.
Yeah.
I did like that a lot.
Roth, I mean, how many times did you get to watch the episode, first of all, Roth?
I have seen this episode once, just like all of the rest of the Loki episodes.
That's fair.
It's more of a time thing than a quality of Loki or enjoyment of Loki thing. It's football season. There's too much football and movies and TV and podcasts and work.
Yeah, during this, yeah.
It's I talking about the really big picture, I think this latest movie, notwithstanding, this end of Loki, I think sets the MCU up for the ability to go a different way if they need to
do whatever they want to. Yeah,
I mean, the ending's open ended. Yeah, they can do whatever.
They can bring Loki back. They can completely drop Kang altogether if they want.
Well, and if they bring a Loki back, it doesn't have to be the Loki that we just saw the resolution of.
Yeah,
we can.
That's true.
Right.
Yeah,
it felt like it almost felt like, and I think I put this in a note to somebody, that it felt like he's stuck there, like he can't leave.
Yeah. Well, currently, you could come up with
you
could come up with a solution like, at the end of the day, the multiverse should just be an ever expanding thing that doesn't need to be powered by Loki. But you could build a contraption, I'm sure, to do that.
Yeah, they can figure it out. I mean, it's a comic book movie. If they want him back, he'll be back. But I know, Garrison, you mentioned it earlier. I like the finality of it. The one of the problems with all stories today, all movies, it happens to books, is if they are successful, then they never end. They just go on and on and on, and it
eventually get worse.
Yeah, and it dilutes the IP, and then there's diminishing returns. And for them to tell a story and end it, maybe they won't. I mean, maybe they'll.
Right. I mean, let's be fair.
It's like an ending, and I hope they recognize that, and they don't think that, oh well, this was a spike up, right? Our quality had been kind of low. Now this has kind of gotten better. Let's build off of this and continue it. No, I hope not. I mean, really end a story for once. Build it, have a character arc, and stop it.
I think the thing they should take away is the creatives from this show should be doing other things for the universe. That's
right. Yeah, they don't have to take Loki with them, but do other things. Yeah, when you discover the Russos are great at at storytelling and making a coherent movie, then you let them do more, right? They recognize that in them. The two writers,
Moorhead and Benson are going to get to do more.
I meant the guys that wrote for Endgame and Winter Soldier and all that. Those two guys,
Marcus and McFeely, and they started with Captain America.
Right. Yeah, those two guys. When they had some that they recognized that they're good at this, so they kept them around. So I would say keep these guys under contract.
Yeah, for sure. And so, Andrew, you've talked about this episode the most since you did some other podcast that I'm jealous about.
Traitor.
So what were your thoughts on that show for those of us that didn't get to listen to it yet?
Well, if you haven't listened to it, what are you doing? I mean, come on.
I know, right?
But
I have not listened to it. Because I have loyalty to the Deucecast.
I just
Amen.
Oh, he's on codeine. It's all good.
He doesn't just whore himself out like you do, Andrew. Just kidding.
I'm available if anyone's interested. Anyway.
Yeah, I did the comic binge earlier this year.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
Talk about
that's how I find you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what was your background with Loki before? I mean, was this a character that you enjoyed in the MCU and you liked season 1 and all that?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I loved season 1 of Loki. I think this Loki always seemed to be this Avengers Loki seemed more like powerful to me. I felt like the Loki we see throughout the MCU felt kind of like, Hulk just picks him up and throws him around. Thanos just snaps his neck, So I always liked this Loki. I did like, in the words of the director, that it felt like two halves to a book. I liked that it essentially with both seasons came full circle. I loved the practical effects of this season. Not relying on the volume as much. I don't. Did they use the
sets
volume
are definitely practical.
Yeah, and
yeah, I don't know that they did much volume stuff.
If they did, it was for outside environments, and a lot of it's inside. So
maybe that last with Renslayer, like in the void, maybe like that was
possibly.
that was volume, maybe, but
that was really a close up. They didn't do any long shots of her, so it worked great. Like it didn't.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's that one up. Another correct answer for Rhett there, guessing that she was in the void and that she was going to have to battle that.
Yeah, if you die off screen in comic books, you don't die. So
I was about to say, I don't think she's dead. I think.
No! She had a determination
or something.
Yeah, she had a very determined look on her face. So yeah,
and she may never. That's not for us to expect her back. I think.
Right.
That's just for you know what, she's a strong character. She is going to fight her way out of this, and we probably won't ever see her again, and that's ideal, probably.
Yeah, but it's a thread that could be picked up if someone wanted to.
Yeah.
That's what the MCU used to be great at, by the way, was putting these little threads out there that at the time they did not necessarily have a plan for, and then someone would pick it up and it would turn into this great connection, great story overall.
Or sometimes they paid things off with just a line. There was in Civil War, Clint and Black Panther are fighting, and he was like, and there's something about Black Panther says, "I don't even know who you are," or "I don't know your name," or something like that. And then in Endgame, when they're passing the gauntlet, he's like, "Clint, give it to me," or whatever, And that's a payoff. That's just real subtle payoff, but that is when you got smart writers who pay attention to everything, you pick that up and you do pay it off. I love it.
Well, that's what they obviously did with Loki, with a couple of the lines that he said in this episode. We're hearkening back. So
look, as he was turning to walk out onto the gangway, he's saying, "I know what I have to do for all of us." That was what he said to Odin as he was dangling off the Rainbow Bridge in the first Thor movie in 2011.
I actually watched an interview with Hiddleston today where he talked about improvising that line. Like he had just taken a jog or something off set and was listening to the score of the first movie, and it just kind of came to him. It was like, this is what we need to do for that scene. And he was getting kind of emotional in the interview. You could see it. So obviously that meant a lot to him.
That's the only one I've seen.
No. It was just a YouTube interview, but
while watching this one, it felt like why couldn't they all be this good? But I think it was like the whole arc, the slow burn of the season or of the whole series and his whole life within the MCU. It just felt like it was excellent. I was like, I just wanted it to. I didn't want it to end, but I know it needed to end. But,
right.
It was a natural thing, but I was like, man, this episode is so good. Why couldn't the earlier episodes be this good?
Yeah, it didn't undo some of the issues that I had with the earlier part of the season. I still think Loki wasn't used properly throughout, but the payoff was absolutely 100, like 10 out of 10, no notes. I mean, however they got there is justified by the end. But yeah, I mean, there were things about it that I wish had been done a little bit differently. Even this episode, I mean, if you nitpicked it, I think Sylvie was still underutilized a little bit
this season in general.
But
it's a nitpick.
I'd say that's justified by the end, though. Where I mean, this whole season is really Loki's story.
Yeah. And that's
Right.
Season 1 felt
probably overused in the first season.
I was about to say,
compared
season
to
1
Loki.
felt more like her story almost at times.
Yeah.
Even though it was both of their stories. And this was way more his.
I think they could have paid off, the resolution to their, I guess, I mean, it's a love story in some degree. Frankly, they left it ambiguous. When he looks back and says, I know what I have to do for all of us, for you, Sylvie and Mobius are in the frame, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you don't know. I mean, an argument can be made for either one of them. Now, I think it was probably intended to be Sylvie.
Right.
But there was also look, I would call this and forgive me, but I would call it a love story, a Loki and Mobius. There's a love story to be told there, and it can be a platonic one, and it doesn't have to be sexual or romantic. But they love one another. Those characters love one another. And then
Red, are you shipping them?
No,
Lobius.
No,
that's an unresolved.
No, they have filios. They have filios for each other, brotherly love.
It's called Lokius, and it's like the biggest stupid fandom on Twitter, and I hate them.
I mean, Silky is Silky right? That's dumb.
Yeah.
I like Lobius better.
Even at the end, you've got the last shot.
Locutus
is Mobius saying, "I'm just going to let time pass," and then it cuts to Loki, who seemingly hears that, and this happy, contented. I mean, a sadness, like this mix of emotions on Loki's face, right?
Ryan is using Latin.
I thought that was a happy tear.
I reject that.
By the way.
Well, I think it was a little bit of both. Like Mobius is free, but he's also like he wanted to be with his friends, and he has sacrificed all of that to be eternally alone. Right.
That was brutal.
I mean, that was a brutal scene. Yeah.
So I don't you didn't get the sense in this season that Loki and Sylvie had a romantic connection. There was really no allusion to that. Throughout the season, and I think that could have been paid off a little bit more if it had been played up a little bit more. There was certainly a romance there, and he didn't kill her, right? Like that was the option. You kill her and reset this thing, or don't. And he had to make that sacrifice. He chose her over himself.
And those are the choices that play straight into He Who Remains' hand. He decided to take it out of his hands, basically, at the end.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And I was waiting on I don't. So thankfully they did not screw things up with that bootstrap paradox with the book. That basically gets undone. And I was afraid we were about to get a grandfather paradox with the Loki Sylvie stuff, but I don't know that it did. I just watched it a little while ago. They cut away before Sylvie kills him. The last conversation that he has with He Who Remains, they cut away before Sylvie finishes him off. So you can assume that I was worried that she killed him without kicking Loki back through the time door. At the end of season 1, that's how it happens. She kicks him through the time door and then kills He Who Remains. And that's how Loki gets back to the TVA. If she doesn't kick him through, he's not back at the TVA, and you undo. You create a grandfather paradox where he can't be here now because he wasn't there then. But they cut away, so they left it ambiguous enough to where I guess it's okay. But the payoff is so good, like that becomes a nitpick and not a plot problem, right?
Right. It's like they want us to accept the way that the world works, and the way that the time works. It was acceptable. Right, like we didn't have
it worked close enough. It's kind of like when Captain America came back as an old man at the end of Endgame. That doesn't work according to the rules of time travel they established, but who cares? Because it's great.
Oh God, don't take me back to 2019. But the Russos and the writers, Marcus and McFeely, still disagree about that to this day. Marcus and McFeely claimed that he went to the past of the MCU. The new timeline book basically says he does. But the Russos are like, no, the explanation of the time travel rules are that he had to have gone to a branched reality. So he went and lived his life in a branched reality and then jumped back. Cool. Which is the only way it makes sense with the endgame time travel rules.
Right, but how did he jump back?
He had PIM particles. You could jump back from a timeline.
But through that machine, so it didn't exist until then.
Well,
so
Go ahead, Andrew.
Yeah. I was just going to say, I thought it was cool that the time travel in this episode was like Back to the Future, when Loki is, learning everything, and
yes, the loops.
he sentries, the loops. He can come back, and like the scene where he goes into the room with Miss Minutes and Renslayer and Brad, and he's like, I know you're trying to kill me, but I need your help, kind of thing. And they're just like,
what? Well, then, how long is it going to take me to learn astrophysics or all of this, or
centuries?
Whatever. Centuries and centuries later. That's a great card.
Very clever, very much a nod to the audience. I mean, it was just because, it was very, very cool.
Yeah. And I love that by the time we get to centuries later, he's saying so many things to all the people, and especially Major's timely character.
Yep.
It's just like all this stuff that's clearly happened in the past that we haven't seen on screen.
And Timely grew on me. I didn't like Timely early when he showed up, but he really grew on me and ended up being I really liked him by the end of this. And he didn't have a whole lot to say in this episode, but I liked him. He was, he came around. I came around on him for sure.
Yeah. I mean, the problem with Jonathan Majors in this series is that in the back of your mind while you're watching this whole thing, if you follow stuff, is you're thinking, oh, they're just not using him that much because of everything that's going on in the real world with him. And I don't know. Like he feels underutilized. I know, but it still feels. He still feels.
I didn't.
It's Michael's confirmation bias.
I didn't feel any gaps in the story where he should have been.
Right.
I didn't detect that. I mean, I think this end was going to be the end with or without him slapping a woman, or whatever he did.
I totally agree. Because
allegedly,
the ending leaves open the multiversal war, which is directly Kang.
Or you can ditch it.
And they can. Yeah, no. They can pivot off it, and they can pivot off it using even the finale as a point of like, oh, this kind of changed some things because he went against He Who Remains, and actually He Who Remains was wrong about this.
Well, and the writer for King Dynasty got fired, so I wonder.
He was
allegedly.
Anyway.
I think it undermines this ending if, in fact, we proceed with the Kang multiversal war.
Well, let's not get there. I mean, why?
I think so. I think because I think the sacrifice of Loki to keep everything and kind of take the place of He Who Remains we're meant to think that he will now guard against that sort of thing.
Well, Loki can't physically guard against a bunch of Kangs, though. I mean, the Kang variants are out there. They directly say that in the ending of the episode.
Right.
They're not aware of the TVA yet.
I know. I like he has to either have some additional payoff later, or I think, or stop that. I think you undermine that ending if you proceed. If you don't have him do something Deus Ex Machina at the end of it, I mean or at least have a big role somehow.
I would love for him to almost a Major's variant, kind of like two gods playing chess or something together.
Absolutely. That would be. I would love
What?
Garrison,
well, it's truncated, but we can figure it out.
What's up, Dave? And Dave, who hasn't seen Loki, and
what?
Earl.
Huh?
What? I'm just saying, Dave hasn't seen Loki.
Captain.
Yeah. And Earl.
I was just working on Casey Kasem for the new episode of the Deucecast, so I have not seen Loki.
I'm Casey Kasem.
Yep. Number 22 in the year in 1990.
Sorry, I'm late,
guys.
Did
you forget we were doing this tonight?
No. I had a emergency phone call.
Time
Red was onto something.
I know.
I kind of like that. There's 8 looks kind of good. If it had been like 7, it would have like 8 is a nice like.
If there's anything Dick Van Patten taught us, 8 is enough.
So left-right symmetry, if not up-down.
Have we talked about Loki yet, or are we?
No, we were waiting on you to start.
We're in the midst of it.
Hey, thanks, guys.
Earl is holding his loom off camera.
My dad is finally here.
Earl is.
Oh, Andrew.
I don't care for that.
I don't like that either. I don't like that one.
Care for.
No.
Michael allowed Red
I
to
didn't
talk
come
about
up
for
with
35 straight minutes. That's
Andrew, can I have a hug? Can I?
Stop.
Oh,
What's happening?
Even weirder.
Stop.
Oh, virtual hugs. Virtual
Don't
hugs.
make me log into my other account so I can control this.
All right, Earl. Earl, it's your chance to chime in on Loki.
Yeah,
your chance to chime in on Loki, Earl.
This is my chance. I enjoyed this episode. Chance. I know you guys have already talked all about this, but I like how Loki was the central focus of this whole episode. He wasn't, the rest of the episodes. I mean, there's a lot of things happening, and it's like he's trying to figure it out, and he's a little bit passive on some, but I think he's just kind of understanding the world the way that the TVA people are explaining to him. But now all of a sudden, as he begins to understand that he can control this time, what was it? Snapping. What was it? Time
slipping.
Time slipping. And then as he begins to like sort of do this thing where he can sort of go through and circle back. Yeah, I mean, I just thought it was a great episode. And then for the finale to have what it did, have y'all gotten that far yet? Besides Rhett's cat.
Yeah, we're talking about the finale.
That's a Florkin, by the way. He's got a Florkin on his shoulder.
That was a loath cat.
A loath cat. Oh, it could be a loath cat. That's so great.
That's stupid.
That loath cats are beautiful. Anyway, and then for it to be this, I don't even know what the world tree or what do they call that? I can't say it. Yggdrasil. And for the loom to be the world, sort of the whole connection, and just bringing it back to He Who Remains. Just that whole concept of bringing this whole series as back, sort of in an Ouroboros type fashion.
Yes.
And then him figuring things out throughout. I mean, I thought this was the Loki that Rhett's been probably longing for, as the one who sort of like takes charge.
Yep. We should ship.
Well, also, but I still think that he takes charge in a different kind of way, though, than the Avengers.
Well, it's not
Loki.
Right. He's this whole, you could say this is his whole arc. I mean, from the Avengers onward.
I don't.
He's now the Redeemer. He's now the Redeemer who sits at the end of time.
Yeah, and the Yggdrasil bit is a great view into his psyche and where he kind of ended up emotionally at the end of this thing, right? I mean, he is an ice giant. He was stolen by Odin, and which we lost track of that.
We glossed over that a little bit.
I think most of the people writing these shows forgot that he is an ice giant. But to have that kind of just this innate, like that's how it manifested, right? Was as Yggdrasil, I think, is a big deal. I love that. I did not expect it. I mean, I realized it as they started to pan out what was happening. Beautiful visuals. I really liked. I love that it ended that way.
Yeah. David, if you ever watch it, you'll love it.
Well, we'll get there at some point.
David, have you seen it? Have you seen any of the episodes yet? No, you don't. You don't have to watch them. You don't have to.
I want to catch up. I want to fully.
You need to watch Miss Marvel, David. Don't fully.
Okay, here's how you watch Miss Marvel. Okay, David, listen up. Here's how you watch Miss Marvel. You watch the pilot, and then you watch the finale, and you skip everything else.
That's right.
I haven't watched Andor yet. I'm not going to watch Miss Marvel, so. No.
I think I am going to watch Miss Marvel actually after the.
Oh wait, you haven't watched it yet?
No, but after the delightful The Marvels, now I'm absolutely going to.
I don't believe
I can walk to an AMC theater from my hotel.
This is a bait. This is called a bait. He's just baiting us, guys.
Don't take this bait, guys. He's playing a game.
Iman Vellani is a treasure.
She's good,
but she can't save a movie.
So there's an AMC
are we about to jump to the movies? All right, Uncle Brian and me are going to go see the movie real quick.
No. I mean, I could walk across the street to an AMC.
We're not going to jump
now and go see it.
I will walk across it right now if y'all keep talking about this.
Turn this car around.
Oh, I've heard that too many times.
Son?
Dr. Earl, are we there yet?
Turn this car around.
I'll be slapping behind me.
Hey, look how there's nobody in the chat.
That's right. Andrew has to call.
It's just us.
Andrew has to call him Dr. Earl. It's just us. We've got it.
We kept inviting all the people from the chat into the show.
People in the chat.
Yeah, it's ended up like
there are no chats. It's like all the time.
It's all people.
The good.
Every comment is from a host on this episode.
Of course.
Chat represents.
It's like we've pruned the chat until it's all collected here.
Apparently, I'm a variant of myself, according to a comment in the chat.
Wow,
that's right. According to whoever that was that typed in there,
the chat who remains.
The chat who remains.
The chat who remains.
What did y'all think about like when?
Gosh. What else is there to say?
Timely. Are we done? Okay. Yeah.
Wait, Earl was just asking a question.
No, we're not. No.
What's
Go
happening?
ahead.
Okay,
I think
Mikey's
Michael might
off.
know.
Mikey's off. Mikey's off. Ask your question, Earl.
Mikey's off. No, he's not. What? No,
because there's too many people again, and I'm off now.
Mikey is seriously delayed. Like I can tell by his reaction.
Yeah, he's delayed. Earl, continue your. Oh no, I don't like this format.
This is great.
You're asking about Victor Timely, Earl. Please.
We kind of look like
question.
Well, yeah, like the I liked how he was trying to speed up that thing, and he was asking Ouroboros about how long would it take. He's like, I don't know, maybe a century, and he's like, and then it's like,
centuries later.
Centuries later.
It's very clever.
Wait, why am I still in here? I haven't seen Loki. I don't care. Why is Michael not back in? I mean, this is not.
I think Michael's restarting his computer. Would be my guess.
Okay, well,
it's sort of like Miss Minutes. He has to be rebooted every so often.
No, I'm not restarting. It's just when this many people happen, it messes my computer up for some reason.
Oh god.
Yeah. Oh well. This computer's an introvert.
Hopefully, when Michael comes back again, he won't try to kill us all like Miss Minutes.
Yeah,
that's right.
Hey,
everybody!
He needs to upgrade from that potato he's on.
Look, Andrew just turned into Miss Minutes for a minute. Look at that.
Don't install his computer. Brian is in here.
Brian, it's my fault. I gave him an old computer.
Oh, an old one is right. He's on a 450 megahertz.
He gave him Mr. Dell's first
button, Michael.
It's an Apple IIe.
Exactly right.
Apple IIe. Yeah.
Overclock it. Oh man!
Why isn't Michael in the chat though?
What do we think the future of the TVA is? I know there's some rumors out there about the use in a future movie.
You saw it at the end. It's about keeping the branches growing at this point and making sure that there's no threats to the multiverse. Kang's their big threat at this point. That's pretty much what they said at the end of this episode. You know, Kang had attacked something on. Kang had attacked something on 616 adjacent, which is clearly referencing Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
Yeah.
But they took care of it. They
said. They did say the 616 thing, right?
Yeah.
So, but is Kang done though? Because now that Loki.
Well, Kang could be done, but or they could recast him.
We're setting up the multiversal.
That to me doesn't matter. At the end of the day, I think they're still going through with the multiversal war. It's just whether it's Kang or not. You know.
And I think they need to ask the question if they want to do this like kind of multiverse stuff, if they want to continue this Kang storyline, not based on the actor, but based on how good and how well received these multiversal and how prominent and off. Like there's so many multiverse crap out there that like, do they want to be another part of that crap?
Yeah, I look, if Phase 4 taught us anything, it's that, and in some of Phase 5, like things have not been great with the MCU theatrical releases, and if you get and it can't help that it's kind of this convoluted multiversal mess. I mean, that sounds good on paper, but in the execution, it has not been great. And the viewership has dipped, right? I don't know if you continue down this path where you have all this mass of information and that you need to know about this multiversal war. Does that limit your audience further? You know, I
feel like that was the argument for Endgame, was that people have to know 22 movies that came before it. And,
but they did.
Well, look, that movie made more movie than any other Marvel film ever made.
Yeah.
No, a lot of people walked in that film on its own, or seeing Infinity War.
But it also, you could follow it, I think, without knowing all the details.
That's my point. There's a way to do that with the multiverse stuff too. You could write it that way.
Well, so do you get they wrapped then kind of these two Loki? Because I'm assuming this is the series. Like the series is over probably. Did they wrap this up well enough for it to be like a couple sentence reference in a thing in the future where it can impact the MCU going forward?
What do you mean?
So like, did they? was this show too complex, or did they do a good job of kind of wrapping things up? And will they be able to use this show as a jumping off point for the MCU going
Well,
forward?
I think the most important thing to the MCU is from the show is the TVA, of course, is going to be a thing, but B, it's that Loki is powering the multiverse now. So I mean, it's kind of a big plot point.
So, can he control the multiverse? Like, can he?
Well, I don't think so, and I hope not, because again, I think that's just too cheap.
But the stories changed to green. They changed to his color,
well,
right?
I think they were dying, and he put life back in them.
Yes, yes.
Okay, that makes sense. He's got all these powers now. It's just like what?
Well, he enchanted the branches, I guess.
Wasn't he just a trickster with a knife that could like shapeshift or something in the beginning of the back in Thor?
But then Richard E. Grant told him he had more powers than he knew, and
Oh, well, that makes a difference. Okay.
Yeah,
I see.
So I liked the detail of the TVA handbook 2nd edition. That was super cool.
Hey, Mikey,
Yes.
pin that comment.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Listen. So if the TVA presumably it will make another appearance, and the problem that causes is you have to explain what the TVA is to people who did not watch any of the TV shows, right? And you have to do it quick.
Yeah.
Well, you reintroduce it.
Deadpool 3 will probably be the place to do that, because Deadpool can look right in the camera and say and
Right.
just dump everything you need to know about it in a line or two, because he knows that nobody knows. Most of the audience won't have seen it,
And he could say this is utter
really
nonsense.
That's really a great way to do that, is to just break the fourth wall and tell everybody exactly what you need to know about it.
And I think as long as it's done right and it gets the right reactions, I think Deadpool 3 is going to be an actual hit, unlike some of the recent Marvel stuff. I think that's going to capture the GA.
It carries a lot,
especially
more.
if my girl T Swift is in it.
Well, yeah.
Will we see
Neo appearance?
Will we see any characters from this
Swifties.
TV series on the big screen besides like the major players?
I think Owen Wilson will be back at some point.
So yeah, that's my theory. I think Mobius. I think it'd be I think it would suck if they just left him on that ending. I liked it at the end of this episode, the end of the show. I liked that ending for him, just looking out and letting time pass by. But I really want more Mobius.
Yeah, that's not a permanent
like I can see
situation
the Judge or B-15 or X5. I don't see that.
I think it'll be OB and Mobius.
I think you could see any of them in a very throw a line out role where if
very brief.
I know that reference, I clap, and then if you don't know it, it doesn't hurt anything, because they're not important cogs in whatever wheel that is.
And like depending on the involvement of the TVA, like the TVA steps in to help solve something, B-15 and whatever other people will just kind of be more background characters, like even to a lesser extent than like Coulson was.
Like Miss Minutes walks across screen.
Just like the staff that gets brought along, and if you know who they are, great, and if you don't, so what? They're just these new guys who just showed up and do things.
I would almost like to see a musical moment in Deadpool 3 with Miss Minutes jumping on the lyrics for when you're supposed to sing along.
Right. You mentioned the TVA, like a theory about the TVA gathering people. I'd love for Mobius to be that guy going around gathering up a team of people eventually. I'd love for him to be that guy.
Oh, yeah.
He'd be kind of the Nick Fury of it all in that sense, getting the team together.
Does he have access to... Yeah, I don't know where he ended up. I guess that's the point. I don't know exactly where he ended up.
Yeah.
How long does he stand there?
That thread's open.
Does he go back to he needs the resources of the TVA to jump from among multiverses, right?
I think he'll go back. I think that
that's what I got that feeling too. Otherwise there's two of him in that time.
I was gonna say, or they could go real dark and he just
that was strange.
The guy's throat.
That was weird that there was two of them like that. And he's
maybe he could pull a Wanda Maximoff and try to kill himself to take his own kids away.
Yeah, Brad was as a hanging loose Chad, I guess, or Brad, hanging loose Brad.
Hanging Brad.
Hanging Chad?
Hanging Brad.
Hanging Brad.
He's hanging Brad.
That's the Loki spinoff we're going to get.
I hope we see a Zaniac 2 poster in the next Marvel film. Yeah.
So do we have another season of Loki though? I think this is
I don't think
I can't
so.
see that.
And I love
that
this.
would be bad.
I think this is the perfect ending for the show.
Yes.
It's kind of like the ending to Mando season 2, where you're kind of like, this felt like an ending. You know what I'm saying? Like, Baby Yoda goes off with Luke, and Luke saved the day, and kind of the whole story of getting Baby Yoda to, huh?
No, I'm agreeing with you. I'm just like,
Okay.
but then season 3 came along, and
yeah, well, I think Boba Fett did more damage than that, but then yeah.
For sure.
Did they bring Mandalorian in towards the end of the season to help with ratings?
I don't think he'll help him at this
There's
point.
an entire episode. It was just him.
Mando comes in and takes Miss Minutes off another adventure, and we barely see Loki for the whole episode.
Mando, and I'd go for
Boba
a Mando.
Fett cameoed in his own show.
Yeah. I liked
It's like the episodes.
Episode 6, where he's in the Jabba. He's in the palace, and it's literally he's just standing there off to the side, and he says like one thing, and that's it. That was a great episode. Book of Boba Fett.
Boba. Coco? Did you say Coco?
So I will say about Jonathan Majors, his acting as timely and as he remains vastly different.
Yes,
amazing.
Look, Jonathan Majors is a great actor.
I've been on this hype train since season 1.
I liked his portrayal of He Who Remains here better.
I did too. I agree.
I liked him being surprised when Loki was like, "You think
Garrison, what?
I think this is the first time we spoke."
Just look at David's name. If Garrison starts laughing out of nowhere, David has changed his name.
But no, I think.
No, I agree with you, Rhett.
I don't remember what I was saying. I don't know what
I
can't remember. I just lost my
Major's portrayal of
Major's portrayal.
I thought he was. Yeah, I love the scene where Loki takes over and is like, "You think this is the first time we've had this conversation?"
Yeah,
it's a great turn.
I think this is
just excellent.
I've had this conversation.
I really felt like he picked up where he left off with He Who Remains. Like I couldn't believe how well he fit back into that performance.
Right.
Yeah, but it was a little goofy. Like it was a little bit less goofiness this time around. Like they kind of got a little better, you know.
I think that's because he realized we're getting towards the end of this scenario at this point.
It makes sense, and but I liked it better. It was
especially when Loki made him nervous because he was
he got a little nervous about Loki.
Yeah, I liked how they were going back and forth. Nope, nope. Yep. They were like back and forth on their. I need to rewatch. I need to rewatch this whole episode. After I watch Miss Marvel again, I'm gonna
doubtful.
I did.
This is doubtful.
No, you're just not going to do that.
No, I'm not.
I did really love the last conversation between Loki and Mobius, and the whole story that was being told.
That was cool.
That story being told about him being basically afraid to prune this 8-year-old kid, which was for the greater good, of course, is what Mobius thought at the time. And of course, I was like, okay, the person who pruned it was probably Renslayer, and then you get to later on in the dialogue, and it's Renslayer. And it makes total sense, and I love I just love that whole scene, and it's actually foreshadowed in the beginning of the 5th episode when he's time slipping, because he goes into the time theater.
Yep.
And then we see it pay off in that episode.
Yeah. It didn't occur to me until I saw it there that there would I guess on my second watch that was a payoff, because I guess I intuitively knew on season episode 5 when he popped in there that there must be a reason for it, but I love that they paid it off.
Was that episode 5 you said?
Yeah. It was the beginning of the episode because he's jumping all around.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So he's in there alone, and then
he's in there alone.
That's right. Okay, that's right. Man, wow, my brain is time slipping right now.
There's a lot of good payoffs in this whole show.
Well, and you assume when he has that talk with Loki, Loki's like, okay, now I know what I've got to do. I thought he was going to go kill Sylvie at that point to stop you know what I mean? Like you think, okay, now I've got to.
He was never going to do that.
Well,
Loki Earl.
I'm just saying, I didn't expect him to be the one to sacrifice and to be the,
Yeah, no, it's good.
Right.
I didn't know where it was going, I guess.
Yeah, they didn't telegraph it necessarily. I don't know. They started to kind of get there at the last couple of episodes when you kind of you started to feel like we may end up there, and they didn't help. Look, the trailers give so much away. You almost want to stop watching them.
I have.
Yeah.
You see him out on the gangway,
or read Reddit.
I like how Loki almost he kind of reminded me of some like Captain America type of stuff there, where he's like, we don't trade lives, like there's gonna be another way, and like kind of really searching for that and doing lots of like self-sacrificial moves so everybody else can kind of move on. And
the
continue.
irony and sad thing is he wanted friends. He didn't want to be alone. He specifically was fighting not to be alone, and that is what he had to do. That's good story. That's good storytelling. That's good character arc. Now in the Marvels,
Okay, now I got to go if we're doing that.
We got to get there eventually.
It's just right across the street. There's an AMC.
I'm going.
I'm just going to go right. If y'all do this, I'm going right now.
11 p.m. showing. I'm going.
And by the time Rhett makes his third point, the movie will be over for you. You can go back and
I'll just go back to the street.
I really don't have
will
much to
still
say
be going. It'll be good. Dave,
Well, so
buddy.
oh, Mikey's back! Yay!
Michael.
They're saving
captain is back.
Marvels.
Hey guys, before we y'all jump to Marvels, I just want to say a shout out to all our veterans out there from this past weekend, especially the veterans of the Infinity War. I'm talking about Captain America, Captain Marvel. They really fought hard for the Infinity War. They defeated.
This makes me uncomfortable.
So
thank you, Brian, for your service.
That got quickly cringy.
Earl
Yes,
is giving out coupons to Infinity Cones.
Don't bring that back
thank
up.
you, Brian. Thank you, Brian, for your
Tell
service.
you about.
Thank you.
No, seriously, thank you for all your service. And I will let the Captain Marvel. What a hero she was. I mean, what a
Captain,
hero.
my captain.
She came in right at the end of in game. Oh my goodness, it's so good. I'm so sad I haven't seen them all.
Okay.
Across the battlefield.
Okay.
I'm gone, guys. Bye.
Okay. I'm super delayed. I know I'm super delayed, but Earl, say goodbye. Andrew, say goodbye, and Brian, say goodbye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Oh, finally. Oh, Andrew's still here.
Andrew, say goodbye.
He's trying to leave. All right. I don't know if I'm still delayed.
No, you're good.
Here we
I think
are.
you're good.
Okay.
Your
I think
picture
it's
looks
when
better
there's
too.
eight or more, then my computer just can't handle it for some reason.
Now we
I
have
don't
a
know
chat,
why.
guys.
You're on a potato over there.
I don't know what it like. Hey, if I was still on the laptop, I wouldn't be able to do it at all. So this is a vast improvement from the laptop. So here we go. Hey, that was a fantastic conversation about Loki, guys. I really actually enjoyed listening to it. I didn't have to participate. It was great. I could just listen. It was actually really good.
Same.
Yeah. Brian's installing a server at my house. I wouldn't even know how to do that. So I have.
Isn't his computer work what got you in this problem to begin with?
Yeah, I don't think it's.
Well, no, he's got me a better computer than my laptop. Trust me.
You
It's like
don't need a file server. You need to
get rid of the rodent running your power on your
more
computer.
RAM and better CPU.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know. So let's dive into the Marvels. Everybody here's seen the Marvels, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes.
Sunday night.
Thursday night.
Oh man.
Thursday night.
Yeah, Thursday
I actually,
night. Yeah.
so sorry, I just got sent a message by David Dollar. I have to go check this out.
What?
What?
What just happened?
What is
He had
happening?
the, he was on AOL. Is that
That's
log on to
beautiful.
check the phone?
That's beautiful.
It logged you out.
No.
Are you
my
on
iPad.
AOL?
It's my iPad. I'm on my iPad.
Oh, you're on your iPad.
Mom,
That's
get
right.
off the
That's right.
phone. I have to get on the internet.
I got into the internet. Yeah, get off the phone, Mom. Get
That's
off the
a
phone,
beautiful
Mom.
picture. I
I'm
approve.
meeting my friend in the chat.
Oh, wait.
room.
I forgot. Gosh, I'm so discombobulated because of my computer crap.
Okay.
I forgot to honor this show
Oh,
more and
nice.
change our
Yeah,
background.
Nice.
Let's see how many. There's
Yeah.
5 of us.
Oh, that's
Look at this.
perfect. That's
Oh,
perfect.
look
My
at
girl Bree
that.
right in the middle. We can all
Oh,
see her.
Bree
It's just
The
beautiful.
middle.
Can I
She looks
say something?
fantastic. Yes, go ahead.
White tank top was awesome.
White tank top is fantastic. But I saw that in the trailers, so I already knew that was coming.
I did too.
Yeah, Garrison, he was spent already.
He was worked out and ready to go.
They actually let her act in this film, which I thought was interesting, and it was a bad choice in the sense that we've now had a couple of films with this character, and she's so stoic in those films, and then she's in this film and she's acting, and I'm like, whoa, that's not the character.
That part when she's in Kamala's house where she stomps her feet angrily, like she gets frustrated and mad, and she stomps her feet like a mad woman, like it hit me in the face. It's like, this is not the same character anymore.
Yeah.
I will be very honest. I like the first half of this movie.
I prefer this version of Captain Marvel, by the way, where she actually can
I
act.
think so too, but it was 180 degrees different from the way she was in the first movie.
Yeah.
And I guess you could say she's had this. It's time has passed. She's been working on her memories, right?
Yeah.
She's
not brainwashed anymore by a military
universe. But the truth is,
she's not brainwashed anymore by a military group that was holding her captive, basically. Yeah.
And look, in Endgame, she had a little bit of that. When she meets Peter Parker, she's like, "Hey, Peter Parker." Yeah. That was probably, and that I think they shot that before the Marvels or before Captain Marvel, didn't they?
Yeah. I think so. So they basically went into Endgame and said she's very stoic and serious in that film, but she's even more so in her origin film. We're going to shoot that afterwards.
Yeah.
And then they're just kind of stuck with that.
Yeah.
But
anyway,
now we can move forward.
Better. Look.
Okay, here's what I have to say about Brie Larson. Okay. I'm not convinced that was really Brie Larson. I think that was an AI.
Is this like a Damar Hamlin situation? Did she?
I don't like. She felt so fake to me throughout the whole movie.
You're being funny. I don't know. She looked different to me.
I'm not being funny. I'm not being funny at all because I was like put off by her the whole movie.
Yeah,
like
it
wasn't real to me.
I think Brie Larson does not exist anymore, and that was an AI. And they are hiding the truth from us.
I'm not going that far. I'm not like, but I just don't. It just didn't feel like.
I feel like you just did went that far.
Does anybody know her vaccine status?
It's just, I just didn't think it was her.
Was she playing safety for the Buffalo Bills against the Cincinnati Bengals last year?
She was wearing a mask the whole time. That wasn't really her on the sideline.
Look, on some level,
I don't know. It was weird to me.
A little weird for us to critique this movie, and let me tell you why. Look, I wondered coming into this if I thought about for a while doing my my shtick where I love it. I unabashedly love it.
We don't need to do that.
And it would, that would have been hard to do. But this movie was not. It really wasn't for us. Now they'll blame us for the box office flop. They'll blame men generally for it.
Sure,
but it was not made for us. This was a kids movie.
It's a teeny bopper young girl.
Okay. This was a kids movie. This was a kids plot. This was kids dialogue. This was kids resolution. It was surface level G1 Transformers cartoon shallow. Villain with the worst villain in the MCU.
By far.
A long way.
It's terrible.
And I'm not as angry at this movie as I was Thor: Love and Thunder. I came out of that pissed off because they knew what they were doing. They specifically made that movie stupid.
That was Taika.
I don't think they made this movie to be a stupid movie.
No.
It was just so lightweight. So I think it was butchered in the edit.
Yep.
And I just
I don't know that
I can't gin up any hatred for it because I don't think it's not for me, and it's a cartoon.
I don't know that. Well, first off, it's a Marvel film that is trying to appeal to the general masses. I understand what you're saying, but it is still trying to appeal to you.
No, I don't. But it doesn't. I mean, if they try that, that's one thing. But this was a child's movie. Like I could imagine my 8-year-old be like, "Well, that was pretty fun," and she.
I'm gonna say, I don't think the unbutchered version is probably more entertaining than what we got.
Well, that may be true too. No, I guess that was almost a separate thought. That doesn't necessarily tie into that my premise here that it was a.
It did feel like a Looney Tunes cartoon, though.
I mean,
I like some
the
aspects
cat
of
stuff.
the
Nick
silliness.
Fury is a cardboard cutout of a caricature.
He's a comic relief
of Nick Fury, right?
He's comic relief now.
And
I thought I was watching Duck Dodgers for a second.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
wait.
like,
I like this Nick Fury way better than the Secret Invasion Nick Fury.
Oh yeah,
That's
for
I
sure.
mean,
Well, there's got to
and-
be a
and
balance,
total,
though.
a total 180 in personality too. I'm like,
Right? Yeah.
and it doesn't fit at all. Like, where's his,
So what's
his scroll
timeline on
wife
it?
be
On
there?
this?
Where are all the freaking scrolls?
What's the timeline on this compared to
this
like?
is
Is this
after
before or
Secret
after?
Invasion. This is
So
after
what-
Secret
There's
Invasion.
no reason to believe that it's not as we saw it. Like
Okay,
they
so
don't,
it's
they don't
after
tip you
Secret
off.
Invasion, and he's pretty jovial for everything that he just went through.
Yeah, after the Skrulls
Like
got unleashed on the
blasé.
planet, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
But his wife is supposed to be there. Like she's not. You know, it just
Yeah.
it's just it was sloppy and clumsy
sloppy.
and
Secret Invasion is the worst thing to happen to this phase so far. It's
Correct.
awful.
Yeah.
So Roth, you said you enjoyed the first half. Like, when did you stop enjoying it?
Look,
The musical part?
No,
Or-
I mean, the musical stuff was, I like
Bad.
musicals. I like musicals, so I
Okay,
didn't mind it. I can see why somebody would hate it. It doesn't really
Right.
make sense for a species to like not be able to understand words instead of it has to be sung. That would have made more sense
Well,
if
they
it was
broke
like a
that
different.
and they
Yeah,
immediately broke
it-
that.
It would have made sense if it was like a different galaxy or like a different like reality and not a
Yeah.
different planet. But I like for what it was. I enjoyed the musical part. Right after the musical stuff, I think is kind of like the whole water and when they figure out they're stealing the atmosphere and the water, and it just got stupid. It just got so stupid. And then the
We started
stupid
watching
cat
Captain
crap.
Planet at
The
that
cat
point.
crap was so stupid.
No, the
Yeah.
cat crap was awesome.
No, it was so stupid. I wanted to like my eyes almost rolled out of my
That's
head.
right. That is not for adult men. Like that, like it's just not. Okay. I love cats. I've got cats all over the place. But that's for
when I saw
like-
they had all those baby cats, I literally went, they're going to use them as the escape.
of course.
Yeah. I thought what worked really well in the first half, I thought the chemistry between at least Brie Larson and Iman Vellani, the other gal was Tiana Paris, was fine. But I thought some of that stuff was good. I thought some of the switching gimmicks was all right and kind of entertaining. None of it was like high quality, like first couple phases of Marvel, but it was like it was entertaining enough. And like I wasn't having a miserable time.
Yeah, there were lines that made me cringe at the beginning. I can't even think of any of them now, but I would just grumble and slouch in my seat, you know, and
like if I'm being honest, like I felt like through most of the first half of the movie that Brie Larson was like mad about having to be in this movie. Like I just
she felt
she's so phoned this into me.
Disconnected from a lot of it to me.
She was
not always.
She
it was
phoned it
like
in.
some of it. I think was I think probably the stuff that was reshot. She's bitter and angry in.
Maybe.
She felt there were some scenes and it was random where she felt disconnected from what was happening.
Right.
But I'm with you, Roth. I think the beginning was okay. I really love every second that Vellani is on screen.
Yeah, she's great in it. She is.
I liked her family. I didn't know them because I didn't watch Miss Marvel, but I instantly did. I got it.
I like her dad and brother. Her mom can be a bit much at times.
Sure,
Yeah,
I can see that. But they kept
Can't all moms.
her a little I think they missed some opportunities to tell a better story. Like so, you know, there was a slight moment of tension between Miss Marvel and Captain Marvel. Like Captain Marvel snapped at her about something, and I guess when they were trying to evacuate the Skrulls or something.
Yes.
And then once you find out that this is all happening because Carol did, you know, she overdid it with the Kree or whatever. Miss Marvel could have had a different reaction to her. It could have been one of those stories where don't meet your heroes, right? Where you're let down by them. And she has to learn not to put her on a pedestal, that she is a normal, flawed person. And then she can rise up to the occasion. They could have told that story. They could have done a little more with Rambo and Danvers.
Yeah, but instead they just have Kamala literally say the line like, "Oh, you're a fallible human being" or whatever. Like,
whatever. And then move on. And then it's like it's no fun. It's not a fun story if it's exactly like she dreamed it would be, which it kind of was.
The character moments and like that type of stuff. I think all three characters are just kind of too smart and like don't fail.
Monica's really, really smart. I don't know that the other two are.
Well, no, I mean like emotionally and like they okay. I don't know. They're not the typical movie characters where they have to like go through the process of like understanding something. They just are able to flip a switch and be like, do the line of, "Oh, you're a fallible human," and like, some of that is probably purposeful because they are who they are and they look the way they look. Which definitely, I think, detracts from the story.
Yeah. The musical number, I think if you're going to do, they half-assed it.
Right? They did. Like I was hoping for all three of them to be singing.
They did not commit to the premise, and while they're singing and dancing, they keep cutting away to the other two to diminish what is happening. They make fun of it, right? They really should, if you're going to have it, that it's weird already, I think you commit to it. And they could have taken that premise and applied it to the battle, where let's see how these people communicate in the battle. Like, what if they had been singing at each other? Incorporate dance into their combat style. I think they could have done so much more with that.
They should have done a rap battle.
But it wasn't worth watching with the way
they should have just. They should have just stolen the Buffy plot, where instead of it being the language that they're doing, like literally when you're on the planet, you can only sing. Involuntary.
Like the thing that what Star Trek did it on an episode this past season of
of Picard?
No, the other one.
Strange New Worlds.
Strange New Worlds, where there's some anomaly that made everybody sing everything.
Yes, that was a good episode.
I like that better than what they did in Captain Marvel, though, personally.
And look, I mean, now I'm going to nitpick a plot point. If the planet is 99+% water, and you want to steal the water,
99.63.
0.63. Don't go to the 0.37% of the planet where people live to park your spaceship to take the water out. Do it on the other side of the planet. It's all water,
that's my biggest thing with Star Wars too. Hey, you're escaping Hoth. Why are you going right by the Star Destroyers? Go on the other side of the planet.
Yeah. Maybe that's where the hyperdrive lane, the hyperspace lane is. I don't know. But
wasn't part of this to like send a message though a bit, because he was with Captain Marvel and I guess she was going to get the message, but
they didn't know Captain Marvel was there yet though.
But it's risky.
No, not there, but the message was to her.
But it's just risky as all get out. Let's go to the only place where we can be stopped to do it.
My biggest issue with her plan is that none of these resources she's grabbing are infinite. There's a finite point of all this stuff.
I didn't understand what happened to the Kree homeworld at all. I don't know how Civil War made their sun go out. And I don't know how you can
pollution, pollution, global warming. Obviously,
to me, I just pictured she went into the sun and was like, "I'm turning this off," and I don't know how she did it, but
because she turned it back on. Can she do that? Okay, she is the most powerful entity in the universe.
Right, if she can turn the sun
history
on.
of storytelling.
Yeah.
Well,
pretty much.
And listen, whatever they did to the sun on around Earth, it got. Remember the brief moment where it got dark on Earth because of whatever they were doing. But then it's nonsense. It's a child's story. It absolutely reminds me. I'm a big Transformers fan. It's absolutely the plot of a G1 Transformers episode. And so good.
To lend credence to to lend credence to your theory, I mean, the film opens with Kamala doing the storybook stuff, and this being basically from her POV.
Yeah.
It's very much a childish.
And there was a lot of that in the
I didn't
series.
hate that.
That was from the series. They did that in the series.
Yeah. I knew that was a stylistic choice from the series. That's okay. Look, the Marvel logo was all women, which
yes, I noticed.
Which I think is the most in this movie's defense. I was not preached at very much during the movie.
No, I actually, I was going to say I didn't think this movie was all that. Overtly
there wasn't anything.
It really didn't dwell on them being women necessarily.
Right,
the only, and that's why I feel like the logo was almost out of place. Like that was like that highlighted women too much.
Was it Captain Marvel that they did only Stan Lee?
What was that one?
I think so.
No. In the title.
Just died.
Yeah, in the title, I think. So maybe they're just getting even. They're like, it was only men in the first one. It was only Stan Lee. So now we need an only women one for the second Marvel.
Which reminds me, let me step back to it for 1 second. The intro to this Loki episode was the logo was the backwards.
Yeah. I like that.
Kind of unrolled it going.
The music was slightly backwards. I don't know if it was the theme backwards, but it definitely.
No, the logo, just not the sound.
I know, but the music underneath it was doing backwards stuff too.
Is it a little?
You could hear it because if you listen to Goranson's score at Tenet, it's a lot of that sound you can hear of it playing backwards.
Oh, okay. I need to look back. Oh, the score for Loki was fantastic too. By the way, we didn't say that.
Yeah.
We forgot to mention that.
Natalie Holt knocked out of the park season 1 and 2.
She was awesome.
And her score for Kenobi was mediocre at best. I feel like she was tampered with on Kenobi.
Yeah,
tampered with.
Because this was
yes, for sure. I fully agree. I mean, her score for Kenobi, I think, stunk.
Yeah. Wow. And Loki season 1 and 2 is great.
Fantastic.
Good. Yeah, it's a good score. Yeah, definitely. Who did the score for this one? For Marvels? I didn't even look that up. Was it me? Oh, it was
Laura Karpman.
Yeah, I don't know.
It was very just kind of action adventure generic.
Yeah, it was so
she
generic.
did Lovecraft Country as well.
Okay. Yeah, nothing memorable about the score for me.
Yeah.
I don't hate this one like I did Thor: Love and Thunder. The truth is, I just don't hate this. It's just an absolute nothing burger for me.
Apathy.
Yeah.
I think it's worse than Thor: Love and Thunder. Like overall as a movie, like if you're like grading it and like the story is like
that's hard to say.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe it is. I can't agree with that.
The problem with like a lot of the Phase 4 and on into Phase 5 films is I don't have a desire to rewatch many of them.
Yeah.
Or like feel the need that I need to remember the stuff that happened.
Right. Yeah. It was so inconsequential.
I've already rewatched Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 just because I think that's a good movie. I think that's legitimately a good movie. There's a lot of emotion. It's well written. It's well directed, well acted. And so I have fun rewatching that one, but I have just no desire to rewatch the Marvels. Like it's like I went and saw it just to say that I'm still on track with the MCU. And that's it. I mean, there's like
I saw Shang-Chi twice.
I did
watched it at home, and then I watched Guardians again. Thor: Love and Thunder.
I've seen a couple
Thor:
times.
Love and Thunder, and here's why it's worse for me. It's a much worse character assassination. Than this is. That is that it absolutely undid Thor's entire arc. Where when we first meet him, he is belligerent. He goes and fights the ice giants. He wants to, basically start a war. He was going to cost, untold numbers of lives and just belligerent. And then the opening of Thor: Love and Thunder, he's doing that same crap. He tears that temple apart, in an effort to save it, when he's there fighting with the Guardians, and it's just stupid. It's just and I was never that angry at this movie, and that's how I guess that's how I judge them now.
I mean, and Lost has a point. I mean, we know Deadpool 3 is kind of the next thing, at least.
I mean, it's the next big thing
cinematically. I don't know. I think What If season 2 was kind of just announced to maybe come out this December.
Yeah, where they
we'll
drop
see.
it over like a week, and you got Echo coming in January, which is
Echo's in January.
It's not gonna be a
so,
big thing.
What if? Look, you can't lean too heavily on What If, because the viewing numbers for it are going to be less than any of your live action shows.
Sure,
You're already,
sure.
yeah.
You're
No,
right. You're right.
Yeah.
But
What if season 1, I was not a big fan of.
There were some good things in season 1 though. That
Yes, there was that
Doctor Strange episode
was awesome.
Was great.
And
that show's not meant to be anything but just
it's
like
not going to
hey,
develop.
what if?
Yeah, it's not going to be.
It's on the level as like a Star Wars Visions.
And
right?
Echo, they've already kind of said Echo is not going to have anything to do with anything else. We're starting this new brand,
the Spotlight series.
Yeah, we're starting a new brand around Echo, so don't expect it to have anything to do with
that is an excuse. Listen, that is a marketing excuse to get people to watch it at all, which is fine.
It's wise though. I mean, it's wise.
It's still connected to other things. You still need to.
But if it has a big impact, then they can say, "Oh, well, let's connect it."
Right.
They're trying to have it say, "Oh, it's by itself. It has nothing to do with anything."
Well, what they can do if there's any way that it's popular at all, which is hard to gauge on any Disney Plus show, they can say, well, this leads right into Daredevil, and so expect it to lead into Daredevil or something like that, but it's not still going to have anything to do with the cosmic MCU verse or whatever.
Who knows what Daredevil's going to look like at this point?
Well, and I think it's smart for Marvel to go ahead and do this spotlight thing anyway.
I think it is too.
Because it's basically going, hey, no, you don't have to watch these things. But they had some more characters.
Yeah, I don't know if it's quite Elseworlds. Like I think What If is more Elseworlds than Spotlight is.
Hey, I think Marvel needs something like that. I think it needs an avenue where it can tell a Joker type story, where it can take a character and do something like that that's not connected everywhere, and you can just have kind of your own creative flair. I think it's probably because I think if they're not considering that, I think maybe they should give me an alternate story that's not connected to anything else, just as a standalone. I think that's a good idea.
Andrew's showing his edgy side.
He's
in for the TVMA.
Wait till the
parental guidance.
He's got to wait for the family to go to bed before he can watch that.
He's got the sheets pulled over and he's watching
the flashlight and an iPad.
I'm reading, Mom. So I think The Marvels was not a good movie. Since I haven't chimed in at all here. I agree with Roth in the fact that I actually was entertained for the first part of the movie. I was like, surprisingly, I'm like, this is fun. This is kind of fun. The Singing Planet was the stupidest thing I've seen in a long time. And it remained the dumbest thing I had seen until they got to the cat evacuation. Then that usurped the Singing Planet to become then the stupidest thing I'd seen in a long time. Those two things for me, I'm like, this is so stupid. I mean, just
evacuation, Dave. That's
brilliant. So bad.
Brilliant.
What made the cat evacuation part the worst part of that was the ship spinning and the cats all getting sick and puking them up. I hated that so much.
And towards the end, you had the
the
guy in the background. He held his nose and dove in. It was just like, this is awful. This is
so dumb.
Terrible.
You guys, by the end
Captain
of
Marvel,
film,
the villain sucked. The villain was terrible.
Yes.
I didn't care anything about that villain.
Dungar, or whatever her name was, was awful. I had a hard time believing she had any power because here you got an in-game Captain Marvel fighting with Thanos. He has to take an Infinity Stone off of his gauntlet to put it into his hand to punch her to get her off of him. She's that strong, right?
Yeah, the power
and then she has trouble with a chick with a hammer when she's got two other people fighting with.
She's got a bangle on too.
Well, it's the hammer from Ronin, but
they never really.
Agree.
Nobody knows that, but
Ronin was beating the dance
like hammer from Ronin had a power stone in it. That's what made it so powerful, though.
And he
didn't have the power stone, did he?
He did have the power
stone. It was not good. Nick Fury. What they've done to his character is reminiscent of what they did to Thor. Just character assassination.
Yeah,
he went from this badass spy to this comic relief, this jokey guy. I totally agree with Rhett. Thor: Love and Thunder is an abomination. I think Thor: Love and Thunder is so bad because it's like Thor: Love and Thunder is the drunk uncle that comes to a party and thinks that every line he gives is hilarious,
That's why Aussie Nate likes it so much.
And then it's mad because nobody's laughing at his joke. So he throws another joke out, then another joke out, and it just keeps going. And you're like, when is this going to end? And that's exactly what Thor: Love and Thunder was. It was too big for his britches.
You know what? The comedy in the Marvels did not land at all either. There were some of
it did. I mean, I chuckled at some of it here.
I chuckled every now and then at Vellani. I do like her reaction to the Flurkin the first time she sees it, swallow somebody up.
I don't think we're going to see Captain Marvel again. I think Brie Larson's done.
I doubt that. No,
I don't know.
She's too big of a name to just throw that away.
I guess we will. I don't know.
Maybe not Monica. Maybe Iman Vellani. I think she is the only.
That's a Young Avengers thing, and I'm excited about that.
She only comes out. She's the only one that really comes out of this movie unscathed. She's like a character that they can still work with because it's such a new character to a lot of people that probably didn't watch Miss Marvel at all.
So probably didn't watch this.
Apparently they didn't.
We can see that, but she's at least got Haley Seinfeld's character. I mean, she's at least maybe going to do something there.
She mentioned Ant-Man's daughter.
Look, this movie gets 2 thumbs up for me. 1 thumbs up for the white tank top. 1 thumbs up for Haley Steinfeld.
Yeah,
I do think though that it's good that we got one Marvel movie coming out next year. Marvel has a chance to reset because I honestly think they've got 2 chances to get things right. Fantastic Four and X-Men. They screw those up, there's done because there's nothing left for them to pin their hopes on. Like there's nothing left.
They're about to reshoot 3 acts of the new Captain America movie, I think.
Yeah, and I don't think that's going to do well either.
Hey, who put that in the Discord? I'm just saying.
They're going to put. I think taking a year off is going to be good. Deadpool is a surefire winner. I think you're going to have fun. Maybe he'll have fun with all the trouble that's at Marvel. I think you retool it. You bring some of the storylines back in. I think the multiverse has become kind of an issue because there's too many things out there. You've got to start like. With Endgame, you had basically 4 or 5 storylines you're kind of all wrapping together. And this one, you've got like a dozen. They're just everywhere, and they're all over TV, and they're all over the movies. Watches.
The problem is too many projects.
Yeah. We saw those characters when Marvel, when the MCU started. We saw the characters every couple of years. They would show up somewhere else. I mean, you had 2 Iron Man movies before Avengers. Thor was the year before, you
had a reason to care about these characters. You spent time with them.
You exposed to them. I mean, we haven't seen Shang-Chi since the
that's bad. That's really bad.
We haven't seen the Eternals. Say what you will about the Eternals, but we haven't seen them again.
We've seen they keep reminding us about Kumail Nanjiani's
every now and then, but that's just a poster on a wall, But
we haven't seen Lewis from Ant-Man since Ant-Man 2, which is really ridiculous.
And, we've seen, we never got. Oh crap! I can't remember who else it was now, but we're not exposed to those characters. Like they didn't have a through line in this story like those other characters did.
I think the worst mistake Feige made was saying, "Oh, Avengers films are just now saga enders now instead of end of phases." We need to be able to bring all these storylines together and then have those characters interacting with each other. So by the time you get to the end of the saga, that means something when they're all together.
Give us a reason to care about these characters.
Well, it's like a heartbeat, right? I mean, you need you need to pop up every now and then, to keep this thing alive.
The Avengers film at the end of Phase 4 could have sucked. I don't, with the way everything else went, it felt like. But
right. It's almost like he protected the brand a little bit by not calling something the Avengers.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm not sure, but anyways. Well, I mean, I think the consensus was that this one didn't work for everybody. I mean, there were some aspects of it that was fine, but I
love the ending. Not the ending. I love the idea of another character being trapped in another universe, whether or not that's even one we've seen before. If you're going to do this multiverse stuff, throw people around.
Are we talking about when Beast showed up at the very end?
Well, that's the credit scene, but it's Monica getting trapped in the other universe. I like that idea, even if it's not the X-Men universe. I love that.
She's a terrible character. I hated every second she was on screen. It was just an awful character.
She was force-fed to you.
And let me tell you who's worse is her mother.
I do not like Maria.
An absolute lack of charisma or anything likable at all about the character.
Sick of Maria being
You mean binary?
I'm sick of Maria being...
Is that what that character's called?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Why is she the Captain Marvel variant in every other universe? Why is that? That makes no sense. Carol Danvers at least makes sense because of the comics, but good Lord.
Yeah, it was I don't like either.
I understand what they're
I
saying
know what that
because
looks like, but that's not it. I just
in
don't
the
like
first-
those characters at all.
yeah, in the first film, like, I think Maria was supposed to go on the flight that Carol goes on, but like it didn't happen. Why does she have to be the variant in like every other universe?
Yeah.
Well, the good news is, at least for the Deucecast Extra, it's time to bring some realism back to the Deucecast Extra.
Oh man.
And we're
season 5 shooting
I'm
again?
getting Roth excited. We are stepping back into the pseudo Yellowstone verse.
Speaking of a bloated universe,
even though Bass Reeves, they said like right before the show comes out that it's not really connected to the Yellowstone verse. I don't care. They mentioned his name in 1883. I'm counting it as part of the Yellowstone verse. So I know at the very least myself, Roth, and Earl will be back for Bass Reeves starting next week. We're going to catch everybody up next
I won't
Tuesday.
be here next.
Neither will I.
I
Okay.
may be able to phone in on my I'll call in on my phone for a few minutes, but I'll be in Kansas.
Well,
oh yeah, they don't have internet in Kansas.
they don't have internet in
Yeah.
Kansas. Yeah.
Well, I'll be
Somebody will be here next Tuesday to
by
talk
9
about.
Central. I'll be like 20 beers deep.
That might be the best time to come on and
Gosh.
talk about Bass Reeves.
Bring it in.
But and we're hoping she's very busy, but we're hoping Melissa can join us again. She said that she'll try and be on as often as she possibly can, but she is moving on up and opening restaurants left and right all over the country. So we'll see what she is at that time and see if she can join us next Tuesday. But I am excited about Bass Reeves. Unexpectedly, we may even have Marvel before the end of the year. I didn't think so, but what if season 2, if it drops at the end of the year, then we might be able to catch one episode of that before. But at least at the beginning of 2024, we'll have What If to talk about. We're going to definitely do a roundtable on Aquaman 2. I mean, that's going to be that'll be a winner. So Rhett,
Amber Heard.
Red, I know you're not gonna participate in Bass Reeves, which I'm a little heartbroken. I know
Yeah, I don't think so. If it really strikes my fancy and I love it and I have something to say about one, I'll pop in. But I haven't watched it yet. Yeah,
I'm telling you, even if it's a little bit, I don't know, it's not as good as Yellowstone, but David Oyelowo, he is fantastic in it.
Great in Silo.
Isn't Donald Sutherland in it?
Yeah,
he is not. He hasn't been yet, but yeah, he is in. They're still introducing kind of like Bass and like where his past, and at least in the episode, I haven't seen 2 and 3 yet, so I'm still behind as well because I knew I had a week. I knew I had a week to catch up. I know. Hey,
if you want to cover the curse, let me know because that show is fantastic.
Yes.
Oh, dude.
Yes.
That first episode was awesome.
I don't know the thing I've ever watched.
I love Nathan Fielder, and I love seeing him act.
Oh,
he was.
Do you love seeing his other thing? No,
he was
great.
Scary in that episode.
Is he out?
Nathan's Fielder.
The curse first episode's out. Yeah.
Oh man, I gotta watch that.
It's so good.
It's a
God,
little
I
bit.
love Nathan Fielder.
You'll see more of him than you ever thought you'd see.
That's fine.
It's frustrating.
Have any of you guys watched his show?
Yeah,
Nathan
Fielder.
Yeah. Besides
Garrison,
no, I have not. I have not.
It's awesome.
Oh,
I did. I have no background.
Rehearsal is great as well.
This is the first time I've seen anything that he's in, and it really makes me want to go back and watch the other stuff that he's done because he's
very
got to watch both of them. They're incredible. Like some of the best TV I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. Well, you'll like the curse. Emma Stone's good in it too.
Yeah, I'm starting to really come around on her. She's good.
Steve,
She's a good
I thought, and I like. I think Steve is a great character.
Yeah,
Steven or whatever.
The guy, the Safety.
Nope.
You're talking about. Oh, you're talking about Steve. I know what you're talking about. Okay, that's unfortunate. I really wish you hadn't talked about that, but that's unfortunate that you're mentioning that. Have you seen the episode yet, Garrison?
No, I watched the trailer for.
Oh, okay, yeah, you need to see the episode.
Steven is not a character that I like.
Is it his penis?
Steven?
No.
He has a cameo.
By the way, Fielder's penis is talked about in his show.
Oh my gosh!
I love that he gets the priest.
Guys,
we don't need to do an exorcism on his.
Okay, guys. Okay, let's wrap this up. Garrison, Where can people find you on the internet now that you've just talked about that?
He's in the Fielder Penis subreddit.
God.
Look, this is Mikey.
We were
That's
so
a medical
close.
term. It's a medical term.
I understand.
You can find me on Twitter at grifen3, GRYFUN3. You can find me on Letterboxd at grifen. You can find me on the Deucecast Discord, where I occasionally peek in and send photos of the things I got in the mail today. So,
Roth, fantastic episode on Soylent Green. Very much looking forward to what you announced, but I'll let you go ahead and announce it again for those that will pick this up later.
Yep, Soylent Green was the most recent episode of the Good Day for a Movie podcast. Our next one is on Winter's Bone, Jennifer Lawrence movie.
Yes.
That has been recorded already, actually.
I saw your rating
Pre-recorded.
already.
Wow.
Yes, because I'm gone next week, so we're actually recording 2 weeks from now, or the episode that'll be released 2 weeks from now, tomorrow night, and I can show that movie too.
One of the
I took Michael's advice from the last reflections, and we are watching Henry V.
Oh yes, yes.
Yeah, A Winter's Bone is one of those rare movies where the movie and the porn parody both have the same name.
I'll just say it right now. Sure. I thought that movie kind of stunk.
Oh wow. Okay.
John Hawkes was very good. Jennifer Lawrence was pretty good.
Okay. All right.
Boring.
Have you watched Henry V yet?
Not yet. Watching it as soon as we're done here.
It's a long movie. That's
you need to just over 2 hours. You
need to be fully caffeinated when you watch that movie. Do not.
But it's only like 7:30 in Wyoming right now. So
listen, if you're taking requests, I want you got the Cutting Edge, Koyanis Kotze, and I want to add Run Lola Run to the list. Do any of them?
I got those other two on my list, and with parentheses Rhett on them.
Parentheses Rhett. That's so you remember.
Yeah.
Dave, thanks for joining on the Extra, man. It was good to hear from you. I know it's a rarity that we get you on here. So plug your stuff, my friend. I had to leave the
state to get on the
I know, right? I know you did.
Now, what does Dave's name say? Is that Bill Cosby thinks? Garrison thinks Bill Cosby should have done Mo Money, or what? Where does that go?
Done more.
I'm upset nobody's referenced my name yet.
I saw your name and it took me. Binary's twin brother. Yes.
By Gary.
Yes.
I got it. It's good stuff. So Dave, plug your stuff.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, podcast. The Main Street Electrical Podcast comes out every Thursday morning. Find me on Instagram at the Magic on $1, especially this week, which I've been posting on TV Universal stuff today and tomorrow. And, I'll be posting Disney stuff for the end of the week. And, of course, find me on Facebook at Magic on $1 and Disney on $1, where I am about 20 followers away from 10,000 on my page.
So close.
I'm really excited about it. I don't know what happens then. Probably nothing. But having 5
If it was YouTube, you would get like a plaque.
Yeah.
That's at 100,000, isn't it?
That's at 100,000.
That's at 100,000.
But yeah, so that's where you can find me. And
Rhett, can you be found anywhere?
Nowhere you'd want to find anybody.
Okay, that's what I was hoping you'd say. All right. And then, of course, Dave and myself and Dr. Earl, we host the Deucecast Movie Show, which releases every Wednesday. We've got a very special guest on, Christopher Nolan movies. And no, he's not on. I'm sorry. Garrison's on. Garrison is on to talk about Christopher Nolan movies.
Wow. That's a letdown.
That's a letdown?
You just ruined your intro, Garrison.
Garrison Rifen. No offense, but
my bad. I put the emphasis on the wrong syllable. I'm sorry. I should have really flowed through that a little better.
I'm gonna ruin the episode even more. Mikey sent me the message to get on the episode, and I was like falling half asleep at that time. So we get on it, and then Dave starts a game, and I'm like, my brain is not ready for this game.
I had wondered if you had fallen asleep because you were late.
I got close to it.
I was going to click the link, but I was in the Marvels. I didn't want to get arrested.
It might have been a better experience for you. I don't know if the 4 other people in the theater would have appreciated that.
46 and some change.
Yes, 46 and some change. It's
awesome.
the lowest of the MCU ever.
Told you'd be
all right. Well, like I said, look, we'll be back next Tuesday for Bass Reeves. We're covering, I guess, in this case, it would be the first 4 episodes, I guess. I think. I don't know what their release schedule is. They might be taking a break during Thanksgiving. A lot of times Taylor Sheridan shows do that. So we will see how their episodes shake out, but we'll definitely be here next week to talk about some Bass Reeves and go through the whole season. And maybe some Marvel towards the end of the year. We're not taking a break though, so really appreciate everybody that hung out in the chat, even though most of them were on the show. Appreciate Andrew hanging out earlier talking about Loki. Appreciate Uncle Brian. He's been really fun having on for Loki, and of course Dr. Earl. We will see you guys next week for Bass Reeves. Boom.